energy expenditure and output. All activities of the body require energy, and all of these are met by the consumption of foods containing energy in chemical form. The human diet is made up of three main sources of energy: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Of these three, carbohydrates are most readily provided the kind of energy needed to activate muscles in order to do sport. Protein work to build and restore body tissues. The body transforms chemical energies in the food by the process of metabolism, an activity that takes place in the individual cell. Molecules of food substances provide energy, pass through the cell wall. Inside the cell, chemical reactions occur that produce new forms of energy and get rid of waste, such as water and waste materials. So in 1 kilocalorie there's 1,000 calories, and 1 kilojoule there's 1,000 joules. The first way to measure body fat is the hydrodensitometry. The procedure is the dry weight of the participant is first weighed, then the subject sits in a specialized seat and expels all air from their lungs and is lowered into the tank until all parts of the body are emerged. The person must remain motionless underwater while the water weight is recorded. This procedure is repeated several times to get a dependable underwater weight measurement. So it's underwater weighing. You have to get rid of all the air in your lungs and in your clothing, because that weighs more than that, adds weight onto it. So you have to fully be submerged and you have to repeat several times. The advantages of this is underwater weighing is the most widely used test of body density, and in the past was the main measure for other indirect measures. Like, that's how they knew if it was accurate. They'd go by those results. The disadvantage is that the equipment required to do underwater weighing is expensive. The tanks are mostly located at universities or other research institutions, and there is generally not easy access for the general population. So, for example, like our class wouldn't easily be able to go and just use it. Skin fold calipers. These estimate body fat level by the measurement of the skin fold thickness. A mean is calculated from results, and there's 3 to 9 different sites to measure from. An advantage of this is it's cheap and really easy to access and use, as like the skin fold calipers could cost between £10 and £50, and you can do it anywhere. However, if you don't have the skills to measure properly, then you won't get an accurate reading. So training is required. The bioelectrical method. This is the bioelectrical impedance measures the resistance of body tissues to the flow of a small, harmless electrical signal. The proportion of body fat can be calculated as the current flows more easily through the parts of the body that are composed mostly of water, such as blood, urine, and muscle, than it does through bone, fat, or air. It is possible to predict how much body fat a person has by combining the bioelectrical impedance measure with other factors such as height, weight, gender, fitness level, and age. One advantage of this test is it's relatively quick and easy to get a measure from. However, the machines can be quite expensive. Like the handheld ones obviously is not as expensive as the ones you find in gyms, which can cost hundreds of pounds. So it's not as accessible in that way, but if you've got one, it's easy to do. Your BMR or basal metabolic rate is an estimate of how many calories you burn if you're doing nothing but rest for 24 hours. It is represented by the minimum amount of energy needed to keep our body functioning, including breathing and keeping your heart beating. The BMR does not include the calories you burn from normal daily activities or exercise such as walking, standing, talking. To calculate this, for example, if it was me, we were going on way, I do 10 times 60 plus 6.25 times 174 centimeters minus 5 times 17 and minus 161 and my BMR would be 1,441 calories if I was doing nothing but rest for 24 hours. The equation is the same for a man, just instead of minusing 161, it's plussing 5. There's 5 factors affecting your BMR, so in the climate that you're in, so if you're in a hot climate or cold climate, your body has to work, use more energy to either cool yourself down constantly by sweating or vasodilation, vasoconstriction, or to warm yourself up, so shivering burns calories, and in order to do that you need more calories to use. Age, so young people tend to burn more calories than older people because they're more active. So a 17-year-old, for example, compared to a 80-something-year-old, they're going to be doing more exercise, and their body's just going to work a lot faster, so they're going to need more calories, more energy. Your physical activity levels in the day, even though the BMR does not include that, but if you do a lot of physical activity in one day, say you have football training and then you walk the dog, or then you have a football game, then you're going to obviously need more energy, which means more calories in the day, so more than 1,441. And your gender matters because males obviously have like a bigger body, and therefore they're going to need more energy to do the same things female would. Energy intake and energy expenditure. So there's 3 different scales. If we look at this one, this shows that you intake more energy than you use. So that if we were going to apply this to people, you'd be more likely to put on weight there. Energy expenditure and energy intake are the same, therefore you'd probably stay the same weight. And the last one is where you're burning more energy than you're intaking, so that would be when you're more likely to lose weight. Your R&R is your resting metabolic rate, and it's 60-70% of total energy expenditure. So this doesn't include sleep. It's influenced by your age, sex, genetic background, and body composition. So to work this out, for males, you multiply the body weight in pounds by 10, add double the body weight to this value, then divide by 24. For example, 150 pounds times 10 plus 300 equals 1800 calories a day. Divide by 24 equals 69 calories an hour. If you're a woman, you would multiply the body weight in pounds by 10 and add the body weight to the value, then divide by 24. For example, 150 pounds times 10 plus 150 equals 1650 calories a day. Divide by 24 equals 69 calories an hour. This figure represents the amount of calories you need to consume to sustain your body's energy requirements, but we need to calculate our energy expenditure for physical activity we undertake. Other parts of the body that require energy is dietary thermogenesis, which is energy needed for digesting the food that you're intaking. You need energy. Megan! You need energy to push the food down into the stomach, so that requires muscle movement and just digesting in general. Adaptive thermogenesis is a result of environmental or physiological factors. So if the environment changes, for example, I guess the climate, if it gets hotter or colder, you're going to have to use energy in order to get warmer or get colder. And depending on physical activity, obviously you're going to need more calories than you would if you wasn't. going back to earlier, 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories, 1 gram of carbohydrates equals 4 calories, and 1 gram of protein also equals 4 calories. So, in order to get a good balanced diet, you obviously need more carbs and protein, which is a lot less calories than fat itself. Your MET, this uses oxygen consumption per unit of body weight per minute to estimate exercise intensity, as oxygen consumption is already directly proportional to energy expenditure during exercise. To work out your MET, you get your MET value, so you add up all of that, and you do each individual equation separately. So standing is 2.5 MET. So if you just stood for if you worked and you just stood up for say 6 hours, you would do 2.5 times 3.5 times your weight times 60 divided by 200 times 300. So you'd need, if that was a person who was working on their feet for 6 hours, they'd need 1,968 calories in order to sustain energy levels and be able to do it.